Wow. It's
Wow.
the stream. It's
It's the draw class.
draw class stream. Hi everyone.
Hello. Welcome.
It's always so confusing to watch this on YouTube because it's always like, no, you don't have anyone watching.
Yeah. It's very I mean, this is an exclusive tier. Not everybody can get in live for
That's
this
true.
one. This is a
Yeah,
special one.
it's a
And
special one. Some people watch it after the fact.
yeah, if you're watching after the fact, hello.
Hello. And then if you're watching it on Drawfee Extra, hello.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's always on Drawfee Extra.
it's always on Drawfee Extra, a month after the fact. Can see no faces. Yeah, that's because I didn't switch. That's
Yeah,
because
this
I
is
didn't.
this is the pre
We do
this is
like
the
the
preamble.
we do the preamble, make sure we're in it, that nothing's happening, that
Here
nothing's
we are.
wrong.
Hello.
Um,
There we are. There you go. That's our faces. Enjoy our faces.
yay!
Ah,
Yay! Hey, if
ah.
you are watching this live, thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
supporting.
supporting us. We appreciate you.
Yeah. If you're watching this like a day later, hey, thanks. Thanks for supporting us. And then if you're watching us on Drawfee Extra, hey, thanks. You might want to be a Patreon subscriber for this draw class here. It's fun. It's
It's
fun. I get to
fun.
answer questions about, or we all
Yeah.
answer questions about whatever we're teaching.
It's a small class. You get to be part of a small class. You get your questions answered,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's a different topic every month.
Every
So
time. It's whatever we feel like talking about. There's a
yeah,
construction site outside, so I apologize to everyone.
they're just digging a big old hole in that road.
They're actually filling it back in.
Oh, they finished the hole. Wow.
Soon, yeah, they should be done within a couple of days because they're working like that way. So I saw a bunch of dirt, and then there's like a bunch of wood in the road because they're replacing all the sewers, and then some of that wood is gone, and now some of that dirt is starting to get pushed into that hole,
There you go.
which is very fun.
Very fun. Very construction.
Very construction. It's been a nightmare of noise to wake up to because they
Mm-hmm.
slam all the equipment down at 7 in the morning.
Yep.
So, but you gotta take care of those sewers.
Yeah. Better take
Okay.
care of them now before they explode.
Yep, that would be nice. Um, I'm going over how I do like my whole process of posters from
Very
thinking up the
exciting.
idea to completion. Maybe we won't get to that completion stage. Probably not, but you
Get
know,
as close as we can,
we'll get as
by
close as we
golly.
can. So, what I was thinking for this was that I would, because I'm going to approach it how I always approach it, which is in the illustration freelancer mindset, which is, I don't know, just how I tackle everything. It's how my brain has been geared towards, and how I studied doing art. So, I'm going to act like I've been given an assignment, which is to design a poster
Doing some
for
acting. Very cool. Sorry.
some what?
Some acting. You said you're gonna act like you
Oh,
have been given
yes.
an assignment. So
Yeah,
we
I'm
get to see
gonna
some
ignore
Julia
chat.
acting.
Gonna pace around the room a lot and just go,
Oh, thank you,
Um,
it's Spooky Kabuki for complimenting my shirt as well.
my chat just like isn't. My chat isn't going.
Oh, I mean, there's not a lot in there. Just people are joining slowly. It's
I
not
mean,
going.
I wish I could see it.
You just can't see any.
Oh, there we go. Now I have live chat. Okay.
There you go. You did it.
I was getting no feedback from people, so I was concerned that like no one was here except for 3 people.
No, there's 15 people watching, and they're all waiting with bated breath to see.
Excellent.
And I'm so I'm gonna be You can focus on teaching, and I will give you questions as I see them appear in the
Great.
chat.
So I wanted to pick something that I thought would be fun for me to tackle today. So I picked a movie that I really, really enjoy. It's my second favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies, and my first favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie is on my list of just overall favorite movies. But Jacob and I rewatched it last night, or I rewatched it. Jacob watched it for the first time. It's a movie called Rope.
Rope.
Nathan, have you seen Rope?
I've not seen Rope.
So Rope,
I don't think I've seen very many Hitchcocks.
Rope is, like I said, my second favorite Hitchcock movie. It's about two rich university boys, I believe they are. I know they're rich. They're two rich guys who decide to throw a party in their apartment and kill one of the guests before the rest of the guests arrive, just so they can, I mean, this is the opening scene, is that they are strangling a man with a piece of rope.
Wow.
And they do it just to see if they can do the perfect murder.
The perfect murder is murdering someone before a party.
So, well, the guy wants to do it before a party because that's like, so the main point of the movie is that these two guys are very different people, the two people who kill this person. One guy spends the whole party having like a nervous breakdown. He's getting more and more anxious as the night goes on. He's terrified that they're going to get caught. And the other guy's really arrogant. He's just like throwing it in people's faces. He's the one who wanted to have the party in the first place. And the party is also all friends and family of the murdered victim.
Wow.
Yeah. So the whole movie feels like a whodunit, but you know whodunit, but it's still, so like...
Do they know that he's dead?
Oh, yeah.
Or
they intend to kill him. Oh, the family?
Yeah, the
they
other
just
guests.
think, the guests just think that he's late.
Oh.
They're like, oh, David's been invited to this party. Where is he? And they're like, oh, I don't know.
He's late in more senses of the word.
Well, the guy who's really arrogant keeps being like, the
late David.
I mean, basically. He keeps making like murder puns at everyone.
That's fun.
At some point, he ties up a bunch of books that the dad wants to borrow with the rope that they killed the son with, and they give it to him to like leave with. But one of the people who's invited is Jimmy Stewart, and Jimmy Stewart's like one of their old teachers. And he starts to piece together that maybe they've killed David.
Jimmy Stewart's always piecing stuff together in Hitchcock movies.
Yeah, well, Hitchcock could only hold on to reoccurring male actors because the women despised Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the movie is fantastic. I absolutely love it.
Is Maltese Falcon a Hitchcock?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Who directed that one?
I could be wrong. My favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie is Rear Window, which is probably like my second favorite movie of all time.
John Huston.
Yes. So the other thing about Rope is that it's done in real time. So from the beginning, it's like they murder the guy. There's also no cuts. No cuts. There's a lot of like camera trickery. It's long takes, but it's made to look like there's no cuts, which...
David's in chat saying Rope was meant to look like it was all done in a single shot.
Oh, yeah. So
David knows.
The other thing about Rope was that it was based off of a play, which was about two guys who are a couple, and they invite their friends over to their apartment that they both live in together as a couple, but none of their friends know. So one guy is, being really blasé and arrogant about it. And he's like, oh, we're never going to get caught. No one's ever going to find us out. And the other guy is just terrified that he's going to be ousted. because it was during a time where, you
Oh,
couldn't.
so Hitchcock was like, instead of couple, what if murderers?
Yes.
That's fun.
But there's still a lot of similarities there. The movie
You do crimes.
is really, really good. It's an hour and 20 minutes. I recommend it to everyone. Again, it's supposed to be real time. So they murder the guy in the beginning, and then they set up the party, and then everyone arrives, and it's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, sounds very suspenseful.
Yeah, there's a whole scene. So basically what they do is that the arrogant guy, after they kill David, they take the body and they put it in the chest, in this like chest thing that used to be full of books. And the chest is in the living room where the party's going to be. And he decides that he's going to have all the food and things be served off of that table.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very cool. So
Sadistic.
I thought it would have a lot of cool, I don't know. I'm also in like a spooky murder mystery mood because it's almost the fall.
It's almost the fall.
And I'm tired of this heat.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees today.
It's too hot.
Too hot. So yeah,
I had to get some of my hair cut off because it was too hot.
It's too hot. I should get my hair cut off, but it's pretty long now. Anywho, there's a lot to the movie that I thought we could play with in terms of, poster design.
Yeah.
So an approach that I was taught as an illustrator before we start drawing and ideating, and this is not an approach that works for everyone, obviously, but I really enjoy the going 2 steps further than you have to with the idea, because everyone's going to come up with that first idea, probably,
Right.
So you keep doing like a distillation and getting just like the one thing that hooks people, or make it interesting enough, because when you're a freelance illustrator, you have to find the thing that sets you apart from the other illustrators, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And one of those ways you could do it is by this sort of method of keep going with the idea. Don't just do the scene because they could take a screenshot and do it. Obviously, if you have really distinct style, you can do a scene with that style, but you always want to make it interesting. You want to make it so that the audience comes in being like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah. I feel like you do that a lot in your head on Drawfee episodes too, when you're coming up with what you're going to do with a certain prompt. I can never predict.
I always want to do, my goal with Drawfee prompts is to always get Julie, what is that sort of reaction?
Yeah.
Or to just turn it halfway through. Like the Bloodborne guy just splitting the head and then filling it with eyes. I want to get like that moment. And I want to get that moment with illustration. I want to get...
It's very, very cool.
I want to get like... The thing that this poster is really interesting. And there's a lot of wild stuff happening.
Yeah.
I want to know more. So...
I'm so excited.
So I'm going to go through how I do that. So that requires my word thought experiment.
My word.
My word. Oh, there's a woman in Rope. I absolutely love her accent because I have no idea what she's saying. I looked her up. She's just from England, but she's like very old school British. Mm-hmm. And she's supposed to be like an eccentric rich woman. Mm-hmm. So in the movie, she's always speaking like this. I was trying to go to the store to get menu kits. Jacob and I were like, we just need subtitles for this one woman. It was awesome. She's kind of dressed like Yubaba. It's awesome.
Nice.
All right. So I like to, and this is another thing that I learned in college, is anything that comes to your brain, you write down to try to get it out. Because there's a thing, I'm going to compare this to a story that we heard from some game developer friends, where game developer friends have this thing they call the duck. And it is a rubber duck that sits in their office on their desk. And every time they hit a problem, they say it out loud to the duck.
To the duck.
Because, and I even did this last night with Jacob, I was trying to solve this stupid puzzle in Horizon Zero Dawn, and I said to him, Jacob, can you help me solve this? And I turned and looked at the puzzle again, and I was like, nope, never mind, I figured it out.
Yeah.
So you just,
This is my experience anytime I can't find something in the house.
Yes.
If I say what I'm looking for out loud, I find it immediately.
Yes. You just have to say the problem out loud, because your brain has a hard time thinking of a solution while also thinking of the problem. It's trying to hold on to two things. So
you release the problem.
You hear it in the air, basically, and then it comes back and your brain's like, oh, there's a question out there. I know how to answer it. Here's the solution. So it is better to write things down. And this is what I'll even do for thumbnails too, is that I'm going to put down a bunch of things that I'm going to be like, this, I'm not going to use this thumbnail, but just to get it out of my head, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll put it down and I'll be like, well, there's a good idea there. I'm going to, leave that on the page for now, move on, and then maybe I'll come back to it.
Yes.
It's just getting everything out.
Yeah, and this can be applied to like you said, game development. It doesn't have to be poster design. Like, this is just useful problem solving to try and there's this habit of not saying stuff out loud unless you think it's a good idea, and like you should do the opposite. You should say all the bad ideas. Yeah, because that then your brain
lets go of it.
Then they're not taking up space.
Yeah, because your brain's still like, well, maybe there's something there. Let me hold on to it for later. Right. And then you get stuck on it. It's like every time I try to think of an actor's name and I'll say it to Jacob, and he's always like, they are in no way related to this. I'm like, yeah, I just need to get, it's just like stuck in my brain. My brain's stuck on this one actor's name that I know is wrong. So I just have to say it so I can move on, and then I will figure out who it is some of the time. So I always write down the topic at the top so that if I come back to it later, I know what I'm figuring out. So I always just say all of the things that come to my head when I think of the movie Rope. So Rope is about, there's two guys.
Burgers and fries. They murdered the other three guys.
One Vict. There's Rope. Now with the two guys, there's the arrogant one. Is arrogant spelled with a G, with an E or an A? Arrogant. I believe. Arrogant. Then there's the nervous one.
Mm-hmm.
So then the arrogant one just stays his course. The nervous one kind of becomes like, it escalates. No one.
Escates.
Escates.
It escapes.
Escapes. Escalates.
Yeah, no, you had it.
I'm just gonna say increases. It's hard to think, teach a class, spell.
Julia, I'm here to Google the spelling of any word you need.
I can't. I just can't. I'm so bad at spelling.
I'm here for you.
This is what happens when you have years after you get your hearing of your teacher saying, sound it out.
Yeah, sound it out. Oof.
Sound is new. Okay, this doesn't help me. I don't know what this means.
I'm just learning these sounds. There's too many sounds.
I just got these sounds.
Yeah. The sounds just came in. I can't sound them out.
So then the victim is in the chest, which is in the living room. Where
So we're really just fully free associating here, because like we're like, for the guys you have sort of personality types. For the victim, you're dealing with physical location. So we're just sort of first. This is just sort of like first thing you think of when you think of each of these things. We're just getting it out in any order, just to get it out as it comes to you in your mind.
Yeah, because a lot of what my poster illustrations are combining the mood or the atmosphere or the psychological place that someone's in or whatever, with maybe some, you know, the themes of the movie or the subject or the events or some kind of symbolism. Because even right now I have an idea off the bat, which I'm going to just do on a separate layer. We're going to do a thumbnail. Actually, you know what? I'll still do it in my brainstorm. So a connection I see already is that this two guys, arrogant, nervous, increases. You could say that the nervousness increases like he's unraveling.
Oh, and you know what else unravels?
Rope.
Yep.
So we could have rope unravel two guys.
Okay, so when you hit just like an inspiration moment like that, you just write it down. You just write down the idea on a
I just write it down.
Side of them. Yeah, that's awesome.
Sometimes I'll thumbnail it, but I still feel my brain churning on some words.
For sure.
On some key moments.
Feel that churn.
The other part of this is that you don't want to do anything that's too spoilery. You want to be just spoilery enough to get people in, but you don't want to say like what happens. It's fun. Also, if you look at the trailer for Rope, they filmed a whole thing for just the trailer.
Ooh, that's fun.
Where it's the victim talking to his wife or his fiance, I'm sorry, in the park. And then Jimmy Stewart comes in and says, "This is the last time she'll ever see her fiance again."
Wow.
And then they have this thing where he's like, and then he like introduces all of the characters, and it looks like we're about to play some Clue. It's awesome.
Cool.
It's very fun. And then they're like, and the two guys who killed David. And then they show like their faces.
And none of that is in the movie.
None of it's in the movie.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the rope. With the rope ties up the books. There's a scene where the rope is hanging out of peeking out of the chest a little bit.
Oh, they didn't get the chest closed all the way.
Yeah. So here I'm even seeing another one, which is more of like a scene and less of a theme sort of, you know, distillation. But we have the rope, we have the chest, and as I said before, you can see there's an angle where you can see the chest from like the entranceway in the kitchen, because the way that the house is laid out is like, here's the kitchen, here's the dining room, here's like the entrance hallway where everyone comes in, and then here's the living room where the body is, and then it's like, this is all open. So if you're standing here, you can see through.
Sort of an open concept.
It's an open concept. There's supposed to be two university boys who live in like Manhattan, and the guy like opens his wall of windows, and it's the skyline of Manhattan. And I was like, damn, you are rich.
Yeah. It's always rich guys living in Manhattan that end up doing the murder. American Psycho.
Yep.
They just, you know, they can't help themselves. Not us Brooklyn boys. We don't do any murders.
Nope. Not a single one. Safest place in the world.
Yeah. So
what else we got? There's a family.
Family.
What else we got? So it's like fiance, best friend.
Corona.
Rona. Parents. Well, it's
With
his
family,
husband.
anything is possible.
It's the dad and the aunt. The lady I can't understand is the aunt.
Oh.
Oh, and then there's the teacher. It's fun because it's like
Stewart?
Yeah, that's Jimmy Stewart.
Nice.
And he does this whole thing after he leaves cigarettes on the chest. He like plants it so that he can come back.
Oh, because he knows something's up.
Yeah. There's this really awesome, very tense scene. And I'm sorry that I'm going to spoil this movie. But there's this
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. There's a scene.
Go watch the movie and then come back and watch this VOD later if you care about spoilers for this decades-old movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had time. I say as someone who hasn't seen so many movies I should have seen.
I think it's good.
So there's this really cool scene where, you know, they have all the food on the table, which on the chest where the body is. So the guy is in here.
Yeah.
And the dining room where they're holding all of like the books that used to be in there are in here or in this room. Mm-hmm. And you just have this scene where you just see the back of Jimmy Stewart and you hear him talking to the two murderers. And you have the maid who's walking between this room and the kitchen, and she's bringing things very slowly off of the chest. She's just like clearing it. Mm-hmm. And so all the food is in the kitchen, and then on her way back she brings some books and puts it on the chest, as in like I'm going to put the books back where they originally were sort of thing. And then she starts to open it to like put the books in. And it's so tense because, again, these scenes are really, really, really long. It's supposed to look like one shot, like we said, but this thing never cuts. This camera is just still.
Yeah. And the maid's not in on it.
No.
So she's going to see.
Right.
If they don't stop her.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there's the maid. I don't know if she's a maid. I think she's a maid. She's like, she runs errands for them. Like she was getting them cake in the beginning.
Cake for the murderers.
Oh, this is a question I wanted to ask because maybe someone knows. She had a dessert in that movie. I have no idea what it is. She said it was ice cream, but I swear to God, she comes out with a plate that's like this, and it looks like this. It's an ice cream volcano with a cherry on top, chocolate syrup running down like it's an erupting volcano, and then to the side is a piece of toast.
Huh.
I just want to know what it is and what the point of that toast is. So if anyone knows the name of this weird dessert, please tell me.
Julia.
Thank you. It's seared in my brain because I do not know what it is. Is it a baked Alaska? I don't know. I was just fascinated.
Ice cream and toast.
Because it looks like a mountain of whipped cream, and she's just like, the ice cream's here. I was like, what? I was fascinated. Anyway.
They were out of napkins, so they needed toast.
Yes. That's unrelated to any of these things.
Yeah. Sounds like a weird kind of English pudding, says Ian. Like a baked Alaska sort of situation, says Spooky Kabuki. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with ice cream and toast. I used to put ice cream on waffles when I was younger.
Oh, yeah. That's popular though. It's like a dessert thing.
Yeah, I mean it's like waffle cone, but just like Eggo waffle.
Yeah.
Eggo waffle with maple syrup and vanilla ice cream because I'm a monster.
Well, people do that with like a Belgian waffle, right?
Yeah.
There's
Japanese desserts commonly have bread to cut the sweetness.
Do we think that these 1940s white people were doing a Japanese dessert?
Could be.
Could have been in vogue.
Is it a pate? Says
It was white,
David.
which is why I thought it was whipped cream. It's white. Is it a white pate? She says it's ice cream.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
Yeah, if it's pate with like some sort of a if it's a savory, but she says it's ice cream.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'd be a weird thing to tell someone something's ice cream and have it be pate. That seems almost as cruel as murdering someone and then inviting all their friends and family to a party.
Yeah.
Not quite, but pretty
oh
close.
My God. Shining.
Pavlova. Some meringue. Meringue toast. I only know about pavlova from watching Great British Bake Off.
Should I look up pavlova?
Again, that doesn't have toast. The toast seems like an afterthought.
Right? I just Googled it and I can't see. I tried Googling like 1950s desserts and there were a lot of things that were very close.
Sorry, we had to serve it on the toast plate. Just eat around the toast, please. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's like everything's better with toast. I like in like Southern fried chicken, you just get a piece of toast with your chicken.
I always have it with biscuit when I go to see Jacob's family. It's like the best thing.
Google says it's a Sunday, but I don't believe them.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
They just did toast with ice cream back then. I don't know.
Okay. So I just kept writing words that were coming to mind because I started to hit like here. What happened?
Okay, I just looked up a picture of it and what the fuck is this dessert?
Did you just look at it in the movie Rope? Is that what we're... The ice cream is so pointy! This is what I'm talking about!
Pointy ice cream with toast.
It's amazing. I have no idea what it is.
A delicacy in Hitchcock's time.
It's literally like a white volcano with some toast on the side.
Sure.
I have no idea. It looks like if you had like French toast with just a disproportionate amount of ice cream.
Yeah, maybe it's some sort of sweet toast.
No idea. So I started to lose ideas or like words to think of like around here.
Yeah, I lost track of what you were doing because I was thinking about the toast. But...
That's fair. So I just kept going, and I really tried to push.
You thought about the dessert, and then you drew it.
Yeah.
And then it was out of your head, and you were able to keep going. Now it's in all our heads, so everyone needs to draw that dessert.
Draw that dessert. Get out of your head.
Then we can move on. Yeah.
So I just started to write words that I knew wouldn't lead anywhere, but had some relevancy to the movie, right? Like, I don't have ideas for any of these words. They're just like, if I was doing a really bad Google search and I wasn't allowed to use the main words, I could include these. Like, you know, when you're trying to think of a movie and you're like, oh, like, I don't remember most of it, but it was like in a city. It was like in an apartment, you know, that sort of thing. So that's what I started to do here. And now I have another idea here, which is that there's, like I said, the movie takes place in real time. So as the movie gets closer to the end, it starts to become nighttime. And these guys' apartment is next to a building that has big letters. And towards the end, those lights turn on those letters. And it starts to light their face in red and green. Like they're getting kind of blinded by it.
This is a Hitchcock movie with color.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, I also have to say that every the two main men in this movie both look like this. And then their collars do that fun 1940s thing of like
little one, big one. They do a little one, then there's a big one.
Yeah. Anyway, I realized where my suit aesthetic comes from, and it's Hitchcock movies. Because then also they have like the little side part, and it gets like pushed back. Anyway, that's everyone in that movie. So the people, the murderers in this movie start getting like this light shown on them. And the guy who's nervous the whole time doesn't want any light near him on. And he keeps getting like angry at people for turning on the lights, and he's like, and then he makes an excuse like, oh, I just don't like to play the piano when the light's on.
Classic. A classic thing.
Because it feels like a spotlight.
Oh, spotlight.
Like it's exposing him.
Yeah.
So now we have these words. I feel like we have enough to go on here. I've duplicated the layer. So I'm going to get rid of these words right now because they're on my other layer.
Okay. Just an update. Jamie is doing research on the ice cream.
Thank you.
Research.
Thank you, Jamie. I knew I could count on you. I just heard Jacob come home and then Olive scream at him immediately.
Nice.
Which is very fun. You know what? I'm actually going to leave that in its place that it was. So now I have the main ideas that I came up with during the thing. And this is like the first ideas that popped in my head that I was excited about, and that's why I wrote them down. And then if I sketch all these out and I don't like where they wind up, then you know, we'll go back to the original.
You have them all. Okay, great.
We have all of the words.
You save that.
Yeah.
But now we're just focusing on the ideas that you wrote down.
Yeah. So
three sort of rough concepts.
Yeah. So I like to do really tiny thumbnails because it saves me from drawing too much. This is mostly a composition thing. It's mostly to visualize the idea. The other thing is you have to remember with poster design is that you need room for words, for the title, for the tagline, for whatever that needs to be on there. So you have to remember that when you're sketching this out. So if I were to do, I'm thinking like, you know, again, I'm just going to sketch things out. So like we have the basic rope, right? What if, I try not to erase on these things, but,
you can erase a little.
I'm going to erase a little.
So there's a rope.
So there's a rope, and we're going to have it get frayed.
Jamie has,
an update.
Has unraveled some of the mystery. It's just some fucked up pound cake. Oh, that makes sense. A slice of pound cake with ice cream makes more sense. Yeah. Okay. And that's shaped like that would look like a slice of bread.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's pound cake.
Hold on.
Okay.
1950s pound cake. I wrote pound cake. Because
I'd like some pound cake.
I'd like some pound cake. Nathan, this is an aside that's for no one but me. Nathan, did you ever play Guilty Gear X?
No, I only know about. Well, you're the first person who told me about Guilty Gear, and now I've also seen some gameplay video because there's a new Guilty Gear or newish Guilty Gear.
There is,
now,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Strix or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it's very neat. It's the one fighting game that I genuinely love, but there's this my second main, not my main, but my second main, Kai Kisuke. He has this one move where he does uppercut with his sword, and it sounds like he's saying coconut.
Yeah.
So now every time I see a coconut, I think of Kai Kisuke's coconut.
That's good.
Anyway.
I'm glad, Julia. I'm glad you shared that.
Thank you. So, yeah, this is my first idea. The rope. You know, we would have to maybe make it more, it's like not, it's,
Kitty.
can I help you? Can I help you, Olive?
Olive wants to learn too.
Olive's here.
Producer's notes. How we doing, Olive?
How we doing, Olive?
Making good time?
Oh, okay, she's leaving.
Okay.
Well, kind of. She's still in my way.
Yeah.
So I feel like this isn't enough.
Tail.
I know.
That's really good.
Something that we could do to help this idea, if we do like it, is to add, you know, if we do it again, because I kind of want to, again, just like put a sketch down, leave it, move on with the next idea that comes to my head, like the word association, right?
Yeah.
My cat is still here. What do you want? Other than love?
She wants to be a star. She's a star.
She's a star. She's a star, as that woman would say in that movie. I also try to make even the layout of my thing very loose because it keeps me loose.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps me from getting too rigid and stuck in, you know, keeping everything precise and clean and only putting in the most important things.
Makes sense.
So something, you know, we could do with this is like forming like a vague face profile, you know?
Oh.
Like two guys who are unraveling, which, you know, I like that idea. I'm going to nudge that up, but, you know, make it a little more clear that it's, you know, representing some characters, you know? And then we can just like have some bunched up rope in there. The other idea we could have along with this like fraying rope is that we could have, well, we can have the rope that's fraying. We can have some like, you know, there's not blood in the movie, but we can cheat it. We can signify, you know, it's a easy, quick symbol of there's been a moida or like something bad's going on.
Yeah, there's blood on their hands.
Yeah. So, blood on their hands is also very fun. There's actually a scene where the nervous guy cuts his hand and then there's just blood on his hands.
Oh.
For a while. He has to contend with that.
Oh. Red-handed.
So, rope chest, living room, entryway. What we could do there is we get, you know, this thumbnail idea of, I really like, they set like candles on it, very macabre. We have candles. Oh. We have like the chest. In the beginning, there's still like the books are around, and then just the rope. I think, you know, in order to make the rope more important in this image is that we'll centralize it a little bit better.
Okay.
You know, like this. And then, you know, to go back to something I had written earlier is that this chest is seen from the area where everyone enters from. So what we can do is have some characters talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like, and then this how we'll make it stand out is by making it either darker or lighter than the rest of the things. We'll probably make it darker because it's, you know, symbolic of like it's a hidden moida. And then we can just I don't know, we'll put rope there.
Yeah.
The bright lights are fun because I'm thinking about the trailer now too. So the trailer is very cool because it's the two murderers kind of like faced away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're like faced each other. And then we could have them be in different light.
I love how loose these are, because a lot of times, like, I find it very daunting to come up with ideas because I feel like I'm expending so much energy on each one. But like the fact that you're allowing yourself to be this loose with each one lets you just sort of get them out rapid fire.
Yeah, because you already, I mean, that's like the point of these thumbnail sessions, is to just get the idea out. You think like, oh, this idea could be good, but like, I don't know if it is, so I'm not going to waste the energy on it.
Right.
This is how you can do it in 5 seconds. Know if it's good or not. Know if it's, you might take something away.
Yeah.
You know?
It's super helpful.
Yeah. Another thing that I really like is there's...
Can I read a quote that Jamie found in this article? It's a JSTOR article specifically about this movie and the dessert.
Okay.
This is the quote. White molded concoctions, each daubed with chocolate sauce and surmounted by a cherry. They are, one gathers, only miniaturized ice cream sundaes, but their conical tapering, no signs of individual scoops here, suggests that they aspire to the smooth, unbroken contours of a parfait or frozen mousse.
What?
So it seems like, you know,
seems like no one knows really for sure.
They had a lot more free time back then, I guess. No one was doing TikToks or tweeting it all about it, so they could spend their time just contouring ice cream to look like mousse or something.
Great. I'm a big fan of that.
It's like you really need to, because again, no one's gramming it. No one's gramming this dessert, so it has to be so spectacular that people are just going to talk about it later.
Yeah. Well, that's what she says, is that at some point, you know, they tell her to like go get her dessert, and she's like, oh, everybody wants this cake now, and blah blah blah. I went to 5 different bakeries for it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Incredible.
Yeah. I
looked up some screenshots from this movie. Their apartment looks like a late night talk show host because of how much of it is window and then the New York skyline.
Yes.
With the couch in front of it.
What's cool is that
looks like the Tonight Show.
It absolutely does. The background, the skyline is obviously painted, but in order to have time progressing, they like switch out the painting when you aren't looking somehow.
That's so cool.
Because you see clouds moving. Like sometimes they'll move away from the window and then they'll come back and the cloud is like further through the sky. And they have some like smoke from the top of buildings going through the painting. It's very neat. I love this movie.
Wow. A lot of cool practical effects happening.
Yeah.
So now we're zooming in on the guys.
Zooming in, like, you know, everything's closing in on them, which, you know, if everything's closing in on them, maybe we could do something like, oh, that might be fun. Like, you know, everything's closing in, that guy, he's getting nervous, he's convinced, you know, he's being paranoid, so maybe we could have his face and, like, maybe we have, like, the rope closing in on him. You know, like maybe it's wrapping around him figuratively.
Spiral. Yeah.
Like we could have
composition too.
I like that a lot, actually. Rorp. Because then what we could do is that the rope, since it's a metaphorical thing, can be in a different style than the guy in the back. So I don't know. I'm a fan of these ones that we have so far. I'm just like blocking in because sometimes when a piece relies a lot on color or shadow, it's helpful to put that in, you know, so you can see the drama, because it's all drama and mood.
Yeah.
So you would need that. So the two ideas I like the most so far, and we'll just start doing like a bigger sketch of it. I really like this one and this one, I think, are really strong. This one is a little too figurative for my style. I think someone else could pull it off better than me. So it's like my number 3 right now.
Okay.
But let's go refine these two.
Okay.
This one and this one, right?
Yeah, those are your faves. I like them a lot.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna group them.
They both include the rope.
Yeah, because it's
like, you know, so we moved away from the rope, but ultimately we found our way back.
It's just too important, man.
Ow.
You okay?
Yeah, I just bumped my side on my desk because I'm a klutz.
That happens.
It happens.
So actually, what I do a lot, if you're working digitally, if you're working traditionally, you can still do it. Just it's you can't do this shortcut. What I like to do for thumbnails is, because my drawing style is very stiff, so I like to paste to the original so that I keep some of that energy in.
I like that. I do like the way you thumb this guy's face.
Oh no, I killed a guy.
I killed a guy. I probably shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have, but there was peer pressure to kill.
There's literally I don't benefit at all from killing this guy. I just did it because I thought, what if I did it? And I realized that was bad.
Another thing.
I ruined his life. I ruined my life. Oh no. Chicken.
There's a whole scene where the arrogant one is telling the story about how the nervous guy choked a chicken and killed it. And he said he strangled a chicken, and the guy keeps being like, no I didn't. They can't make an association of me and strangling anything. I can't hurt a fly.
Yeah.
So I'm writing it down because it was pretty important to that guy's character, because they bring it up as like evidence against him.
Interesting.
My God, Olive. I'm gonna bring her up. She's been my little buddy today. So he kills a chicken. And it's like this whole big thing, and that could be, you know, something we can use later. So I went back to my brainstorm and put that down if we wind up not liking any of these ideas. Also, like, keeping the brainstorming going puts pressure off of the thumbnail stage.
Yeah.
And the finalization
you can always
stage.
Come back.
Yeah, because if you're like, oh my God, all of these ideas that I did aren't working for me.
Yeah, and they didn't do it for me.
But that means that I'm out of ideas, because that's what I got from my original brainstorm. But if you keep that brainstorm going,
you can go back.
You're always churning. There's always new stuff that's getting put in that you can use. It's just like tools that you're putting in your toolbox.
Yeah, you never need to like lock yourself off from any of the steps. You can always go back. I think that's good. Yeah,
it's all of this is to get the pressure off of just getting it in one, because Nathan, like you said earlier, you don't want to waste energy. No one wants to waste energy doing a piece that turns out to suck.
Right.
Or that you don't, not that it sucks, but like something you're like, I could have done better, or I wish I had done this or that. You know?
I do that a lot.
Yeah, I do that as well.
I spend a lot of time on a piece and I'm like, I mean, this has to be the piece. I spent the time on it, but boy, I sure wish I'd done it different.
Yeah.
You can do that less frequently. You'll still do it.
Yep.
But there are ways to mitigate how often you do that.
Yeah.
But that's art, baby.
That's art. That's art. That's
I think this is very
what
useful.
they say. Another thing, and I talk about this a lot, but for people who maybe haven't heard it before, I work in colors that aren't black most of the time. I did it for the sake of everybody's eyeballs on this stream that I worked in black. But when I am sketching out ideas or brainstorming, I try to use like a weird color, because if you use black or blue, those are traditional pen colors, and your brain associates that with the pressure of like, well, I can't erase, so I have to get it perfect in one. And that subconsciously keeps you from just scribbling things down, making a mess, just getting the ideas out. Because there's another thing with, this used to happen to me all the time in like high school and college, and sometimes still I do it. Whereas like when you were in class, you always felt like, or like basically when you're in high school, you think that your best drawings are in the margins of your notebook, and then you go to draw at the end of the day and you're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna draw, and then you go to the paper and you're like, oh god, it's bad. It's because you put the pressure on yourself to make a perfect piece at the end of the day, because you did that good drawing before. When you did that first drawing in your notebook, you were just drawing in the margins of your notebook, so you weren't trying to do a perfect piece. You just wanted to have fun. You were just scribbling down, you were trying things. So that's, you know, it's like a whole pressure thing. Right. So if you work in a color that isn't black or blue, typically black, sometimes I'll work in blue, it takes the pressure off.
For sure.
And a lot of the times I'll work in neon green because it's such an ugly color that I want to stop looking at it. So I will just energetically scribble down and move on. That's
your classic Julia comic.
Yep.
Julia Dorkley comic sketch. These green blobs.
Yeah.
I would look at them and be like, wow. And then they'd always inevitably turn into a beautifully drawn comic by the end of the day.
My comics were like, all right, here's panel 1, here's panel 2, here's panel 3. All right, it's going to be that guy, this guy, and then it's going to be...
Your brush size would be thicker, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
It would be these literal, like, blobs.
Yeah, if I had, like, a thing, it would just be like...
Yeah. And then you'd go in with red and sketch over them, but then
and then I would go in.
But then the red would just end up being the inks.
Yep.
Like you would just change, like that was enough of a sketch for you.
Yeah, I mean it was just composition.
Yeah, I mean it was very cool to watch because it's so different from my process, but yours got the results. You were cranking out comics so much faster than I was.
Yeah, it's just because I had no time to do all of the steps that normally I would do.
Yeah.
You know, and then... Yeah, this is literally how I would work. Sometimes I would lower the opacity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your ability to read your own sketches and then make them into stuff, I thought was really cool also. Like, and this is, you know, it's different for every person, but yeah.
Yeah.
If you're able to understand what your sketches mean, then you can be as loose as you want.
Yeah.
Game. Oh, this is a great comic. I remember this one.
Yep.
This is the one with the gamer.
And
he's saying,
what was the line?
Huh. Neat. Yeah. Classic.
That's a classic Dorkley right there.
There he is. That's the gamer.
That's the gamer.
And his catchphrase.
Oh, he would never have cheekbones. Yeah, I mean, that was even more detailed than I used to for Dorkley. It was usually like this.
Yeah, that was in the little horseshoe mouths.
Oh, yeah. I used to do a lot of...
Yep. So good.
Different vibes.
So good.
That's how I used to work at Dorkley. Just as fast
Endless
as possible.
Content.
Just as fast as possible. Okay, so going back to this.
Yes.
So we have our sketch, our thumbnail that we came up with. We're going to, again, not do refined lines because we're not there yet. We're still trying to nail down, because that was super rough. This original sketch is like wily. So we just want to get down the idea. Maybe we'll start looking at reference of just like how would a rope fray. Mm-hmm. But it's not like as important as the theme.
Right.
So if we do, you know, we'll have to cut out some details of the face to still get that rope unraveling.
Yep.
Okay. There's a lot of like thunder outside, and I can't tell if it's thunder or road construction.
Yeah, it's kind of overcast.
It's supposed to thunder tonight.
Could be one of them hot storms.
Yeah. Hot storm.
Hot storm. Summer storm coming through.
Summer storm. Oh, and you know what? I'm still thinking, like, what if, you know, amongst all of this fraying, we have like a drop of blood, maybe?
Ooh.
You know, like coming down. We'll have to.
Sure. Yeah, I love, and yeah, this is, you can always add ideas at any stage that you're working on. It's like, you know, you get an idea. It's like, I could work that into what I'm already doing. Give it a try.
Give it a try.
You're not being held to anything that you.
No one's gonna look at this other than you.
This is for you.
This is for you. So do whatever shortcuts and stuff you want.
Yeah. Improvise.
Yeah.
You're not following a script. You're coming up with the idea still. This is all process.
It's all process. So what if, you know, if this is the timeline of the thing, what if we made this a little just a smidge smaller, continued this a little bit.
This is so cool, Julia.
Thank you.
I'm having a great time.
We need to go up like this. What if it's starting to unravel already before we get there? You know, like it's a slow unraveling. You know, we get more and more texture as we go down. Like this is the literal timeline, beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. Or I guess really it's the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. But yeah, I'm liking this idea a lot. And then of course, you know, we would have very simply
rope.
And then we can have Mr. Al Hitch here.
Allie Hitch. Rope by Al Hitch.
Rope by Al Hitch. And you know, we can always movie poster it up a little bit more by putting some sort of border, like, yes, this is the complete piece, just like a refined little note.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
I like that a lot too.
I like this idea, but we do have that other idea that I also really like, which is this one.
Yeah. So let's try that one.
And it didn't take us long to do that more upscale version. I am going to steal the border from this one because I made it on a new layer and I want them to be the same size. Normally I would make another canvas that's to size of what I want it to be, or in proportion. Like when I did traditional, I would measure out to like a scale or a ratio. But since I'm digital and I'm trying to do this quickly to kind of get through the whole thing, I'm kind of taking shortcuts.
And I'll say one thing that I really like about choosing at least two ideas to do this refining on is that a trap I fall into a lot of times when I'm making, you know, I don't make posters very often, but I'm thinking about like more finished pieces, like for speed draws and whatnot, is like when you're looking at the same piece and that's all you're looking at the whole time. Yeah. Like you'll get sick of it.
Yes, absolutely.
You'll just get sick of looking at it and you'll start making changes that you maybe didn't even need to make just because you've been looking at it for too long. And so just by virtue of having another thing to look on, you did the thing, you got it all down, and now it's gone and you're not looking at it. And now you can work on this other one and then come back to that first one later
Yeah.
and look at it fresh and see like, okay, how do I like it now looking at it fresh? And I think that's really helpful.
Absolutely. Because again, it's getting that idea out. And you will look at the piece that you're looking at so much. You've heard us on speed draws again say like, I tried a thing and it didn't work, or like I started making changes, or I didn't like this thing. And then when you look at it during the speed draw, you're like, actually, that looked pretty good. But it's just because we've been working on it that whole day because it's a speed draw and we have to record our screen. So we usually try to do it in one shot.
So
but
if you don't have to do it that way, you give yourself a break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give yourself a break, give yourself options.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good point. Okay, I'm getting like too bogged down in the anatomy of this guy.
I like this face though.
No.
Oh no, this rope. Why'd I kill that guy? I didn't need to kill that guy. My life would be so much more simple if I hadn't killed that guy.
I love the guy that wants to do the murder and he's like all about it because he's so comically evil. There's this whole conversation, like the idea gets put in his head because Jimmy Stewart, a guy who his character like doesn't really understand society and just talks about a lot of philosophy. He's like wouldn't it be great if murder were legal? Because then you could just get rid of like the people who are really making society worse. And that's his character, and that's what he tells his students out of just like, I spend a lot of time with these students, so I'm saying just a lot of words. Yeah, and sometimes I shouldn't say these words. But he didn't expect one of them to be listening. And so the guy who does the whose idea it is to murder, he just keeps being like, well, he was stupider than me. He was lesser in society than me. So why shouldn't I have killed him?
Ugh.
And so he just like, I don't know. He just makes excuses.
A lot going on.
Yeah, it's a psychological movie.
Yeah, geez.
Because again, the whole movie, apart from the opening shot, takes place in one apartment. They never leave the apartment. Yeah. You never go outside the apartment. It's just the living room, the entryway, and the dining room are the only rooms you stay in.
So wait, when do we hear Jimmy Stewart saying those things?
Well,
is that in like a flashback?
No, because they don't like leave any of the rooms. The guy who's really arrogant brings it up, and he's like, because he keeps throwing it in their faces, like oh, wouldn't it be great if murder were legal, right, professor? Isn't that what you used to be telling us? And the professor would be like, yeah. And then he told like his fake philosophy, and then at the end, Jimmy Stewart's like, I didn't actually mean it. What are you doing? What are you talking about?
Interesting.
Because
I gotta watch this movie.
I really recommend it. Because
you said this is your second favorite Hitchcock. What's your first favorite?
Rear Window.
Oh, another Jimmy Stewart gets to the bottom of things.
Yep. Again, it's another one that takes place entirely in one room.
Yeah.
It's just it's all shot in the room that Jimmy Stewart's trapped in.
Didn't they remake that with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Disturbia?
I don't like to see... I don't know. I like to leave media that I really like alone.
Yeah.
I don't like to look more into... That's why, like, a lot of people are like, oh, did you see the Golden Compass series? I'm like, no. I don't want to.
I did like the Golden Compass series.
That's good. I heard it's good.
It's not completed yet, but it's...
I heard it's good.
I also haven't read the books.
Yeah.
So it seems like it just seems like with books, a series might be a better way to do them justice than movies, because you don't have to cut as much.
For sure.
You can sort of pace it out.
Yeah.
The way the books are.
Yeah.
Disturbia is very bad, says David.
Great.
Thank you, David. I mean, it didn't look good from the trailers. But I trust David's judgment.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to media.
Okay, so we have... I'm I'm probably gonna nudge him over so that his shoulder doesn't...
This looks like an Archie.
Archie? Is that what they sound like? Archie!
Archie! Lucario!
Lucario!
Oh, did you murder someone?
Oh, Archie, what did you do now?
Did you murder someone and then throw a party with all their loved ones just to rub it in their faces? But now you feel bad. Oh, Archie.
Oh, Archie. Getting into your garbage.
Getting into your garbage.
Okay, so...
Oh, did you get some ice cream that's a cone? Served with toast?
Archie, what is this?
Why'd you serve toast with your ice cream, Archie?
So I'm not sure exactly how I want this rope to go. Do I want it to like
its
touch?
own layer, and you made it a different color.
Yeah, I want it to be a much different color because it's not standing out right now. There we go.
Ooh, that's a
Do I want it to touch?
Minty fresh, that green.
Or do I want it to like? Oh, maybe I want it to like fully.
It's going into his eyes.
Well, like, you know, then it would loop around his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Kind of looks like one of them like burner coils.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I don't know if I like the burner coil look, so maybe we just do a traditional spiral. Whoop.
Whoop.
There we go, and then we can...
Nice.
There. So it's like that, and then, you know, we'll have it unravel, and I think something we could do, and again, because I'm on digital, it's definitely easier to do. If we do this, and then if we take this color, close this line, do, just to like test it out, let's do like a dark color, we'll do, oops, sorry sir. The thing is also with thumbnails, and I'm going against exactly what I'm doing right now with what I'm about to say, is I kind of want to make them the same quality so that you're not like won over by, what in the hell? What in the hell? Oh, right.
What the hell?
So that you're not like won over by your rendering of a thing, because it's always going to look prettier. So if we did like some sort of effect, you know, we could do that. Why don't we make this thing a little thicker actually? Because I like the look of it. It's just it's like almost a little nondescript. It's like a little too thin. Nope, that's too thick. Here we go.
There you go. Thicken up that rope.
Thicken up that rope. Okay. And then if we do like some sort of effect.
Yeah.
You know, and then we would have, whoops.
Remember thickness.
Remember thickness.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's kind of pointing in towards him.
Yeah. Yeah. Julia, this is cool.
Thank you. I like it.
I'm digging this.
Yeah, I'm really into it. Do we like this one better or the second one better?
I like them both a lot.
If we give this one the same treatment as the other one.
Yeah, that one is more conceptual, I feel like.
Yeah, because
like you don't even necessarily see the face silhouettes at first, which I think is cool. I like a piece that the longer you look at it, the more stuff you see.
Yeah.
And I think this one does also feel more like like a playbill image, and you said this movie is based on a play,
Yeah, that's true.
and it sort of feels like a play in that it's all set in the same location.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to give it the same like treatment I gave the other one so that I'm not swayed by just how much I rendered it.
I'm kind of, having not seen the movie, I find this one a bit more intriguing
than this one.
Yeah, also because like the two faces point to the fact that there are two murderers, whereas the like I don't know how much this one murderer's unraveling is like the focal point of the movie. If there's like you'd know better than I would. Like this really makes it seem like it's about this one dude's mental breakdown mainly.
That's true. Okay, so should we try rendering this one? Because we can always kind of decide it's not working.
Sure.
Okay, I like that. Because also, something we can do while we're still in this sketching phase is that, is that we can kind of like, you know,
play with colors.
Bleed it into the rope a little bit to show like it's... That's part of the unraveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. All right. So
that was my thinking.
Okay.
But I like both of them a lot. They're both very cool.
Yeah, I'm interested. I might do this one in my free time just because I like the idea of I
mean, I do like the way you drew this guy's face. Oh yeah, and you can play with that red and green like you were talking about also.
Yeah, like the two contrasts. I do agree that it does seem too much like one guy.
Yeah, you made it sound like it's an ensemble.
Yeah,
sort of.
It's definitely like these two guys. Like one guy is unraveling and the other guy is just like having a great time, but he's also getting nervous that this guy's gonna ruin it for the both of them. You know?
Yeah. It seems like a lot. Seems like a lot to ask to like hosting a party.
Yeah.
Even when you
a lot of stress already.
Murdered. Yeah. I've never hosted. I've hosted my share of parties. Never with a murder component, and you know that's stressful enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like. Yeah, maybe I'll do this one in my free time because I enjoy it, but.
This is really cool. I think do whichever one you like the most.
No,
ultimately,
let's do this one because I do like them both, and I'm
like
not.
If you're not sure, this is another we're demonstrating. You can ask a friend for their opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you don't have to take it if you're feeling strongly. Because again, these are all just like things you can apply to your own work.
Yeah.
And fit that into your process. So if you like getting feedback from your friends or peers at any point in the process, you can get it. And if you're more of a straight ahead, let me do it myself kind of one, then just go with whatever's speaking to you.
Yeah, because the other thing is that your friends will go off of like Nathan's going off of concept, and I do agree that this one's a stronger concept. I'm gonna look up some like thick rope. Just a reference image. Like this is definitely a stronger concept, but I'm excited about the other one because I see how I would render it in my head. But that doesn't mean that it would be necessarily a stronger or a weaker piece. It's just that Nathan's first instinct was that this was the more interesting one. And if you're making a piece for someone who's not as like in, like who doesn't have as much knowledge about the subject, if their first reaction is like, well, I find this one really interesting, then you should probably go with that one. Like if you get a bunch of people who are like, well, this one intrigues me more, I want to know more. Yeah. That's your clientele, basically, is that you want to appeal to that person. Oh, let me
This one makes me feel like I want to know more.
Yeah.
Also, it's Spooky Kabuki says, enjoy your poster concept.
Enjoy your poster concept.
Is very funny. Good reference.
Yes.
I think enjoy your meal concept sometimes, and it just makes me chuckle whenever I think of it.
I love the
enjoy your meal concept. I know it's meant to be like enjoy your meal in quotes as the concept.
But reading it as one sentence is very good.
Enjoy your meal concept.
Hey.
Here's your meal concept. Enjoy it.
Enjoy your meal concept.
I love a caption that feels kind of like a passive aggressive set of instructions.
Enjoy your meal concept.
Enjoy your meal concept, all right?
Jacob and I have been watching a lot of Restaurant Impossible recently because when we were on vacation, we were watching a lot of Bar Rescue. But then Bar Rescue, John Taffer is
the same guy?
No.
Or it's a different guy?
John Taffer is just too angry all the time. And then I don't like what he does to the bars. He makes them not as interesting to me.
He has sort of a template of like boxes he's trying to check with each bar, and so they're going to end up sort of similar.
My favorite, and I keep using this as an example whenever Jacob and I watch Restaurant Impossible, and Robert Irvine does a thing that's like, no, I want to keep your like restaurant concept because that's near and dear to you. That's what you like to cook. I always think of the time that John Taffer made a bar called Corporate, after the bar was like a place for like misfits to go to, and he renamed it as Corporate, and it was very funny. But anyway,
David says Bar Rescue makes every bar a sports bar. Interesting.
Yeah, or like a midtown. This is where the business bros go after work. Anyway, I really like Bar Rescue.
I guess from like a money-making standpoint, there's a reason why there are so many of those kinds of bars. It's where the rich people go to spend their money.
That's true. But
if that's not what your original
if it's not where your heart is, you're not going to keep it going. So Restaurant Impossible is basically just Robert Irvine giving people therapy.
Aww.
He's just like, hey, like, you know, it's always like, oh, the restaurant's shutting down because the owner is just this guy that yells at everyone all the time. And Robert's like, okay, well, that can't happen. Then he sits the guy outside and he's like, why are we so mad? And he's so big and thick that these like yelling, screamy dudes that have just intimidated everyone through yelling can't intimidate Robert Irvine, who is a former Royal Navy guy. And so they're always just like, I don't know, man, I just feel like a failure and I don't feel like I can talk to anyone about my problems. And Robert's like, talk to your family about your problems. They'll listen. And then they bring in the wives, and the wives are always like, thank Christ he's talking to me about his problems. I've just been asking for this forever. But I could see him saying, enjoy your meal concept, as he's like storming out because the person won't cooperate. Enjoy your meal concept. Okay. So
it's always nice when you're like, when you have just the natural gift of being a big man, and you use it for gentle good.
Yes, it's so nice. One episode did end in divorce, and Robert was just like, oh, I'm very sorry, and the lady was like, no, I've been wanting this forever.
Wow.
It's fine.
What was it? My mom would watch that like What Would You Do show.
Okay.
Was that a CBS with Quinones? Is that the name of the anchor who would do it? It's like they set up these like situations with actors to see like what people would do.
Okay.
And like oftentimes it's just like a big guy who's able to just like use the fact that he's a big guy to de-escalate, like just sort of do a friendly but firm put your arm around the actor who's doing the bad thing and just being like, hey man, let's not do that.
Hey man, we don't gotta be like that. It's cool.
And it's like he's talking gently, but he's also a big guy, and so it makes the words carry more weight.
Right.
Because it's like, we don't want there to be a problem.
Yeah, it's like,
and I'm giving you the opportunity for there to not be a problem.
I can't fight you, sir.
Yeah, you see the situation you're in now. There's a big man here.
Yeah, I always think of that old.
So thank you to kindly big men out there.
Thank you to kindly big men. I always think of that old, it's now old video of the two people fighting in the subway, and then the one guy is eating pizza, just steps in between them and doesn't even look at the two of them, just keeps eating his pizza. You ever see that? I love it.
Yeah, it's great. That was my, because I'm not a big man, but I did learn in college that like you can basically get into any building if you're eating something.
Yeah.
It's way easier to tailgate into a building if you're like holding a bunch of food and like mid bite, because like no one wants to talk to you while your mouth is full, and and it's just like, why would you be carrying food into a building you shouldn't be in?
Yeah, it's like, so obviously just, I guess he lives here.
Jamie, yes, thank you. What would you do with John Quinones? Is the show I was talking about.
Is it raining now? I think it's raining. It's happening. It's happening.
What did I call it? Did I not say what would you do?
I think you did.
All right. Whatever. I don't know what I say most of the time.
That's starting to be me. This year has really torn me down, and my brain just is just in like, just don't think about anything anymore. You know what? As a matter of fact, I don't even think about what words are coming out of your mouth. Let's just forget spelling.
That was already something that I had to do with Drawfee, just because you're just talking. You're just talking. Just filling up that silence with words, and sometimes when you listen back, you're like, why did I say that? I didn't have to. I was on autopilot.
Yeah. Do we have any questions, by the way, while I'm working on this?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we do, but
lay them on me if you got them.
Scrubby Zoom. Sorry, I'm on Jacob's computer, so his settings are a little different.
Julia, I love your line work, by the way.
Thank you.
Just like these frayed, you're so good at just naturally getting this lovely thickness variation.
Thanks.
When you draw these sorts of little detail stuff.
I was trying to think of how rope would kind of fray, because it's all strands and strands and strands and strands.
Yeah, it's all matted together, strands.
Thick and thin and kind of messy.
Well, it's always a pleasure to watch you do ink work.
Well, thank you. I want this actually I want to push this so it's very clearly a guy, because you never want to have anything that's making, you want the audience to just look at your piece and know exactly what all the elements are, especially when you have very few elements in a piece. You know, you want to push it so that no one is having to guess, because when you color it, they'll understand this is rope, but it looks like two faces. Yeah. So just as long as you push it enough.
Push it real good. Oh yeah, that's a nose.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a question.
Yes.
Is there a specific canvas size you use for posters?
Depends what I'm going for. The typical poster size that I usually do is 18 by 24. That's usually what I do for like travel posters, or I did posters for Draw Detective Season 2, and those are all 18 by 24. But then sometimes you get the 11 by 14, which are the longer ones.
These are inches, 18 by 24 inches at...
Yeah. I usually do them at 300 DPI.
300 DPI. Okay.
So usually, like if you are, I mean, you guys are part of the tier because you're in the Drawclass, but usually my Photoshop files are 8,000 by 45,000 pixels, which at 300 DPI is 18 by 24 inches. It might actually, yeah.
Wait.
Is it? Hold on.
The bigger number would correspond with the...
Well, you know what I mean. So
this is 16 by 9.
Because 8,000 pixels would be... I guess it actually would be smaller. Yeah, it is smaller.
That's 26 by...
What the heck? Let me... Hold on. If I'm doing... 18... 24.
Most of the pieces that we do for Drawfee are wide.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is
wouldn't be that
72,000. Usually
7,200.
Calm down. Usually I'll then blow it up a little bit.
Whoa.
What happened?
I got the thunder here.
Oh, nice.
You got the thunder there. I got the thunder here just a moment later.
Yeah.
I'm further. You're closer to it, I guess.
Great.
So it is raining. I should close the windows. Wait.
You can go close the windows.
I'm gonna go close the windows.
I'll just talk about my file sizes.
Okay.
So usually what I do, someone's asking, Negapol's asking about DPI. DPI, to put it very plainly, is like, I think some people read it as dots per inches or something. It's like the amount of pixel information in there. So images that are uploaded online are always 72 DPI. Anything you download from the internet is 72 DPI. That's why when you try to blow it up, it like gets super blurry.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's wet.
That's good. If you can scale it down, you just can't blow it up. If something is 300 DPI, that means it has more information to work with. So what I like to do is I will go in and do a 18 by 24 inch canvas when I make it, because that's the ratio that I want. But then I will go up and bump it up just a little bit, because I'll be able to scale it down easier. Things that are 300 DPI or over are better for printing because it'll be clearer and larger. So if you have, if you take this and you do 72 DPI, you can still see that it's 20 by 26 inches, but the pixels are a lot lower.
Yeah.
So it looks a lot smaller. And that's because you're giving the computer less information to work with. So higher DPI is better for printing. And I always do illustrations that are prepped for printing.
Yeah.
Just in case. And also because I am a freelance illustrator, or I used to be. So I'm just in that mindset.
Yep.
So yeah, this, so this canvas would I would probably put it in a 18 by 24 inch file. You know what? I'll just do that now. I'm probably gonna have to redraw some things, but
the thunder.
Thunder.
Can you hear the thunder?
You know what,
you better run. You better take cover.
I'm going to duplicate the layers. I'll send it over to my other canvas that I just made. I might have to redraw. Whoa, I really have to redraw things. That's okay. It won't take that long.
It's okay.
It won't take that long.
It won't take that long. Not as long as this rope.
No.
This rope is long.
You know what? I'm actually going to get rid of the border because I don't need it, because my canvas is the border.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah. So if I redraw it, I'll do that real fast, because it's going to be blurry because I blew it up into a bigger. Yeah, those lines aren't as crisp as they should be. You know what? Actually, how much time? I'm just going to skip the redrawing because we don't have that much time left. So that is the initial... Oh my god, scrubby zoom! That's the initial concept, and now we're just going to go back in and fray it a little bit, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Just get that. Get that a little... Give it a little bit more character. Also, because it's turning, I want to try to get some of that depth in here.
Yeah,
like
curvature.
Yeah, it's coming out from
nice.
behind.
If anybody has more questions, just drop
Yes.
them in chat. I'll read them. I'll read them as they come in. What brush are you using? That's a chisel brush, right?
Yep, it's my favorite brush. It's my...
Is that Kyle?
Yeah, it's my Chisel 25.
So that's going to be in the one of them Kyle.
It's in the mega pack.
The mega pack. So that's available with Photoshop. If you're not using Photoshop, I imagine there are other chisel type brushes available on other drawing programs.
It's just one that you can get real thin or thick, especially if you're going down, just because of its weird shape. It mimics I used to use those like inkwell pens, the ones where you can change out the nibs.
Yeah.
I had the one that looked like this.
You have a thin side and a fat side.
Yeah, I had one that looked like this, and it was really wide, and you used to get these like really thick lines or these really thin ones.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked using in college, and I still like using it. So I want
some real cool effects.
I want some... Caldwell also called watching me draw like watching a sculptor. And it's because I do like to go in and kind of chip away at my lines sometimes.
So much I think control. Yeah, it does feel that way.
Yeah, just...
Or like, you know, you're... Especially with stuff like this, it feels very almost like etching. Mm-hmm. Like it looks like one of those like woodblock...
I kind of use the same mindset too. I tend to put more lines where the shadow is going to be.
Yeah. To
kind of make it fall into that depth a little bit.
It creates a really nice sense of depth, I think, and it's so designy too.
Because I want to give it some space too, some breathing room. I don't want to flood it so that it doesn't get too confusing for the eye as well. I try to be economical with the lines so that it helps the colors and the shapes and the depth and so that everything works with each other.
Yeah.
And then I want to add some texture to this part where there's going to be some shadow.
For sure. This is fun.
Because also this rope would have some depth and texture and would be kind of lumpy.
Lumpy rope.
And since we're so close in it, I kind of want to give it that. And I don't want it to be too similar to the next shapes, you know? I want to make sure everything is distinct. So there would be some shadow under here.
It already looks so three-dimensional just from the line work.
Thank you. Thank you. Beetle. Beetle lives in my brain.
He just wants those bugs.
Just wants his bugs.
He's just excited about bugs.
Bugs.
You're out here trying to stop the ultimate evil, and he just wants bugs.
He's just living a simple kind of life.
He'll buy your stuff and sell you some other stuff. He helps. He's part of the story.
As long as he can have them beetles. There we go.
Whoa! Yeah!
Yeah! He's having a great time.
He's having the best time.
What is this layer? A fun shortcut. I will tell everyone who is using Photoshop, a good way to know what is on your layer, if anything, is to hold Control and click the like the thumbnail image, because it will auto select anything on that layer. And if there's nothing in that layer, it'll say no pixels are selected, so you know that you can use it or get rid of it.
That you just made it and didn't put anything on it.
So I like to put a background color that is either the one I'm going to use, or if I don't know what I'm going to use, I like to put a neutral 50-50 on there, because then the colors you put in later will be on like a medium background, so it'll be easier to push or pull it.
Color relevancy.
Yeah, color relevancy. But I do know that I want the rope to be...
from you.
Yeah. I do want the rope to be warm feeling. So I have a cooler background because also I want it to stand out.
Yeah.
And also it's going to be warmer because there's going to be blood on there. But I don't want it to be blood red because I still want the red to get all of the attention. So it's going to be not the warmest, but somewhere kind of in the middle.
Gotcha.
So let's... Whoops, not that layer. Let's drop in that color. Let's get... I want to get like a really saturated red to really drive home that it's blood. Okay. And then I will make my lines black. And then we can go in and start shading. I want it to get cooler as we go out because it's a cool background. I also want it to recede into the background. Again, I want that red to pop out.
And so just, you've shown this before, but just in case anyone doesn't know, when you do the color picker, what you're doing there is you click on the blue and it like changes it lets you just...
Yeah, so let me get this.
You can explain it better than I can, but it's like... Well,
it's also easier when you see it.
Yeah, you did very quick, but yeah, so that's how it looks normally.
Yeah, this is usually like, I think this is like the hue or whatever. This is the hue, saturation. Yeah, this is the hue one, so that's why everything's like kind of in this, color that you've picked. And then there's the saturation, so it's going, into grays or more saturated color. This is just white to black. This is mixing more red, which is why you can see on this slider that it's going red to no red whatsoever. This is green. As you can see, it's opposite colors. Green and it's like purpley right now. And then here's the blue slider. So if I want something to be a little bit cooler, usually what I do is that I select a color, I'll go in and I'll go kind of diagonally or somewhere on this. And then I will typically go back and kind of just be somewhere in that ballpark to be a little, or I'll shift it so that it still stays in that realm. Or sometimes I'll go in this direction because if you go straight down, everything's going to get a little muddy, which can be to your advantage, but I don't want things to be muddy. So I go diagonal so that it gets darker and more saturated so that it still is its own color and distinct. And then I'll go into the blue and then maybe I'll play with this slider so that it gets...
Cool it
off a little. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to...
And you can, like there are lots of different ways to do this. Like you can do... Usually what I do is I'll just go diagonal on the color picker and then adjust it after the fact using like the adjustments panel and like shift the blue and stuff that way. But you can just do it when picking the color too, and then it's just the color you want right away.
Yeah, I also for this wanted this cool color for the shadow. Whoops. Because I want to put it behind the blood here to give it some depth. Like this is behind the drip. All right.
Oh, and what specifically did you do to change the red lines to black? So I know there are a bunch of different ways you can do that in Photoshop too, but what's your method?
So my way of doing it is that again, everything that I kind of do in Photoshop now is speed tricks that I had to learn for Dorkly to kind of just like churn comics out as fast as possible. So these are my lines. This is my line layer. What I did was that I locked my transparencies, which is this first button here. And then I went over to my shape tool, which is this rectangle, and I set it to path instead of shape. So when you set it to path, you can create this box, and I went over to my path window, which is over here on the right, and then I just did a fill. And since all of my transparency, all of my lines are locked, it's only going to work with the information that is on that layer. Anything that I've drawn on that layer, all the things that are blank are not going to get filled in. So I'll show you, like that would be white.
Yep.
So that's usually how I do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great.
So I'm not like super in love with the color I've chosen for the rope. A lot of people will also do, especially if you're working traditionally, they'll do a color thumbnail. So they'll draw the thumbnail lots and lots and lots of different times, and then they'll take like colored pencil, or they'll take gouache or watercolor and just kind of block it in to see what colors they would want. Since I'm working digitally, I can just change that after the fact. So I'm probably going to do that in a second.
Yeah. You never have to.
Yeah.
You never have to be stuck with the colors you chose. There are lots of ways to make adjustments digitally.
Yeah.
My knowledge is mostly Photoshop, but I imagine other drawing programs have ways to make adjustments as well.
Yeah.
And you just got to look up a tutorial for the specific program you're using. But, you know, they basically, you know, you got different sort of levers you can pull. Yeah, hue, saturation, color balance. Those are the sorts of, I think all drawing programs are going to have ways to adjust those.
Not that. There we go. I want it to be just a little more brown. There we go. Yeah. I think that's looking a little better.
Yeah.
And I think what I want to do with the background is maybe I want to do, and again, I'm just going to test some things here because we're working digital and we're working fast. Let me get rid of this path. Maybe I do just want my background to be black. Do I want my background to be black?
That is very cool.
It is very cool.
It looks like the rope's emerging. Yeah, I don't know.
So what I might do is very selectively, I might do
a little bit of a and that sort of hints at that that spotlight that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Also.
I think something like this, and then
that's very cool.
What I might do is maybe I'll there we go. Whip. And let me add some blue in there, cool it off. Because we want another thing with illustrations that you do is you could do anything you want as long as you have consistency. So if I decided that all of my shadows on the rope are cool, it's probably best if I want them to be unified to look like they're all in one place, it's probably best if I use cool shadows for the blood as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing here.
And let me tell you, these shadows are pretty cool.
These shadows are pretty cool.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Woo.
Woo.
I'm allergic to my cats.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's is what it is. I love those little gremlins. It's fine.
When you
another
love
way to
something so much you can be allergic to it.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Another thing is that you can use light and shadow to draw attention. So I only have one highlight here, and that highlight's on the blood.
Yeah.
What I said earlier is that I want some of the blood to be in this rope so that it looks like, you know, it's coming from the same place. But again, I don't want it to create one image, so I want them to kind of, you know, be distinct from each other. I want that red to still pop a little bit. I'm just, again, because of time, I'm kind of moving quickly, but I'm
And what brush is this that you're using right now?
This is the Oil Lush.
Oil Lush.
Because it
classic.
It helps with the texture of the rope.
I love that Oil Lush.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a classic. I don't do much digital painting, but anytime I do, I'm using that Lush.
Yeah. So I'm
used it a bunch in my Love Actually Dark Souls, if I recall.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one to get some texture in there. Sometimes I'll turn the texture off just because it's too much, and if I want it to be smooth, I'll remove it. But
and so you just made that a multiply layer. So
yeah,
it's now blending more with the
because
I
don't want it to pop as much as the blood, and also the blood would seep into the rope a little bit and darken it.
Yeah.
So
and it naturally lets those shadows you already laid down play with the red as well. So it keeps the sort of three-dimensionality that you've already worked so hard to make.
Yeah, and also again, what I said about consistency is that this blood is dripping down, so it would get seeped in more and more towards the bottom. So I'm keeping all of the reds down, which also helps keep the focus of the piece towards the bottom. Speaking of which, I might try something, see how this works. To help again.
Oh, add a little bit of a gradient at the top, so it's
to make it pop like even more.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I'm gonna go in with just for a little bit of rope detail. I'm gonna go in just to add a little bit of depth. I need it to be even brighter. I just want to pull some strands out a little bit. Yeah. Because it's not necessarily going to be shiny, but remember, each like strand in the rope is just like, rope is essentially just string that is pulled together. So I want to get that detail, because also that gritty detail helps with the gritty feeling of the movie of just like, someone's been killed. You know? Yeah. So yeah.
This is so cool.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it a lot. Having never seen this movie makes me want to see this movie.
Good. So I'm just going to write rope. I'm going to pick something that's a little simpler. Maybe not that thick. I want to choose something that's not going to detract from the image, but I want something kind of middle-ish. Well,
middle-ish.
This is probably fine for now. I want them to be unified. There we go.
Beautiful.
Move that towards the middle. Make this... I'm going to make it white and then kind of knock it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put... Alfred Hitchcock. I made that too big, so computer don't know where it is.
Smallify that text. There it is.
There it is. I'm going to all caps
There's that man's name.
I'm going to put it in something that is thinner. There we go.
Yeah.
And then I want to knock this back again. And then just to unify it, I might put a... Oh, and this is another tip if you're on Photoshop. You can put guides by percentage. So you pull up a guide. If you want to put a guide halfway through your piece, you do 50%. You get a guide halfway through. There it is.
You get a guide.
You get a guide and you get a guide. So then what I do is, let's see how a border would look on this thing. Going to approximate where it is. I like to line up usually try to like judge it by where the middle of these little squares are, where that hits.
Yeah.
Seems pretty central. Central. How thick is that? It's all right. And then
there are also like auto positioning tools in Photoshop you can use.
Oh yeah.
I like to use those a lot, just like auto center.
So I just feel like these faces are getting a little lost. So in a new layer, I'm going to go back in and just cheat it. Remember, part of illustration is having
so now you're drawing over top the line layer.
You know, I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
I don't know what happened. Did I put my border on my line layer? Where is my line layer? Why is it there? There we go.
Oh, now that
I don't know why it was in there, but it was.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah, I want to draw some attention to these.
So we're brightening up those reds now.
Yeah.
On a new layer, on the non.
I'll knock it back just a little bit, but I want it to have as much attention as the other one. I should probably like go back in and draw this so that's more face-like. But
yeah, if you had more time, you could keep working on this, but like,
yeah,
this is awesome. You went from premise through conceptualizing to execution in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And looks pretty great to me.
So we started from, because I still have the other one open because I haven't saved anything.
Started from
this.
Yeah.
Just word association, brainstorming, thinking of just images that come to mind with the movie, thinking of themes, thinking of feelings, thinking of number of characters, just literally anything that comes to mind, you put it in there.
Yeah.
Moments, scenes, whatever. Then the ones that maybe you're making a connection with during the brainstorming process, you write it to the side, say like, oh, this and this would be really good together. There's like a similarity there, something we can play with, some sort of symbology that, you know, we could work with. Mm-hmm. So then we picked the two that we liked the most, which was this one.
I still like that other one a lot too.
Yeah, so do I. This one, and then we chose to refine that one into this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I go through all illustration processes. Is that I mean, this is literally what I do.
Yeah.
Every time.
And now you can too.
Now you can too, if this is how you work. Or if you get stuck, or if you want to try to push into something more conceptual. This is a good way to do it.
And I think there are useful bits in each of the steps that even if you don't take this entire process, you know, whole cloth, there are definitely bits that I think can be useful no matter what your process is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like ways of thinking about it. And, you know, again, if you get stuck, you know, try doing it this way.
Try doing it a different way. Try doing it this way. Sometimes it's good to just try something new too, because you'll get a new perspective on it.
Yeah.
But I hope this was helpful to y'all and interesting enough to see.
If you make your own movie posters or anything using this process, drop it in the Drawclass Discord channel. Would love to.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I'm always looking. I don't say a lot in the Discord, but I do. I'm always looking. I'm always peeping.
Yeah.
But thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for being patrons.
Yeah.
If you're not a patron and you're watching this a month later, maybe be a patron.
Consider.
Something to
consider.
Consider being a patron. Yeah, again,
I do appreciate the support very much.
Absolutely. It does us a lot of good to support us on Patreon. It helps us a ton. But again, all of these classes wind up on the Drawfee Extra a month later. Because we understand if you can't always do that tier, but we appreciate when you can.
Should set last month's stream live after this.
Yeah. Again, if you do anything using this method, please let me know in the Discord because I would love to see it. I hope this is helpful. And Nathan, thank you for being here as always.
This was a delight. So nice watching you work, Julia.
It was a lot of fun, and thanks for fielding the questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, not too many questions this time, but
I did feel like I did like a crash course, so maybe people unfortunately weren't able to get in questions, which I apologize about. But
I think maybe you preempted the questions. You did a good job explaining stuff, and there was also a lot of talk about ice cream.
Yes.
And bread.
Jamie, I need that article. Send me that article. And also thank you to our wonderful mods as always for being here.
Yes, thank you, mods.
Yes, and we will see you next time.
Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Sorry.